Taf Nun Gimel Amud Beis, 3 lines from the top. We were discussing previously that Bnei Yehuda were very careful with their lashon. They were medaik in their lashon, precise in their language, and Bnei Galila were not. The Gemara is going to go now through different examples of Bnei Yehuda and Bnei Galil, and also different people or different situations where people were careful or not careful with their lashon. Amma Rabbi Avai, he said, "Ika the Mashalul Bnei Yehuda Daikalish." He said, if you find someone from Yehuda, and someone asks them, the people who in Yehuda, who are Medaik in the Lashon, so you should ask them the following. Ma'avim Tanan, in our Mishnah it says Ma'avim, is it with an Aleph? Or Ma'avim Tanan, or with an Ayin? Akuzah Tanan, the Mishnah of Choros talks about a mum, talks about Kuva, a mum, with the Beisim, it says, so is it with an Aleph? Or Akuzah Tanan, with an Ayin? Yodi don't know the answer to that because they're medaik in the lashon. Shelinhu b'amrlei. So they asked him and they answered. Ikadatanim ma'abrin, ikadatanim ma'abrin yesh. Some do say with an aleph and some with an ayin. Ikadatanim kuza with an aleph, ikadatanim kuza with an ayin. Bnei Yehuda medaik in the lashon. Ma'hi. What's an example of Bnei Yehuda that they're medaik in the lashon? The hu bar Yehuda, the amrlahu, a certain person from Yehuda. He made an announcement. He says, "Talis yeshli limkar. I have a talis to sell." Amrle, they asked him, "My gavan talisol. What's the color?" Amrle, he said, "Kesar nalei adoma." He said it's like a beet on the ground. He said exactly the color. He didn't just say that it's red. He said it's like a beet on the ground. Bnei Galil deloy daik l'lishna mahi. What's an example of Bnei Galil? They're not medaik l'loshen. Sanya, the way you learn, the whole bar Glilala, the Havaka Azal of Amalu, he was walking along, this person from Golim, and he said, Omar, Amar Laman, who has an Amar? Who has an Amar? So Amalei, they said to him, what are you talking about? Galila Shaitan, foolish person from Golil. Do you mean Chamar Lamirkav? You said Amar Laman. Do you mean Chamar? Amar Chamor? A donkey to ride on, or chamar lemishti, or wine to drink, or amar lemilbash, or wool to wear, or amar leisbekasoy, or do you mean a sheep to slaughter, to shecht? So it was so unclear as to what the person was saying and what he meant. He said, there was a woman who wanted to say to her friend, Toy the achla chalba. Tell me, I'll give you some chalev, some fat to eat. But she was not clear in her speech. And Amrullah, she said, Shluchte tuchla levaya. It said shluchte, which has no meaning. So she really wanted to say shluchti, which means my friend, but she said shluchte, which means nothing. Tochlach levaya. Instead of the ochlach chalba, she said a tochlach, it should eat you, and she ran the ches, the end of the chaf and the ches with a tochlach and chalba, and it was like tochlach levaya, a lion. It should be eaten by a lion. Another example of speech that was imprecise and therefore turned out in a foolish manner. There was a certain woman that came before a judge. She said to him, Mori Kiri. She said to him what it sounded like Mori Kiri. Instead of saying Mori Biri, my master, she said, my master, my slave. So she, instead of saying that, instead of Kiri, which is lashon of like an Adana, she said a slave. She said Mori Kiri, Tavla Havali. Instead of saying Tavla, she said Tafla. Instead of saying a tablet, she said a beam. Ugarach min. And instead of saying Garam Minoi, and it was stolen from me, she said, min, they stole you from me. Ukadu Havis, and now it was. So instead of saying Kadan Havis, that it was so big, she said, and now it was. The Kan Shadra Le'alave, when they hang you on it, so she wanted to say how big it was, but she said, when they hang you on it, Loimata Karachara, your feet don't reach the ground. So the servant of Revi, the maidservant of the house of Revi said, sometimes they spoke in riddles, in Ramazim. They didn't want to say clearly what their intention was. So here's not an example, there's not an example of speech that has been distorted. or that's been corrupted. This is an example of using speech in a chachma way, in a way of concealing what the true intent is. So Amar Hachi, she said the following. She said, Elis nafkat bekad, the ladle hit the barrel. Yidden nishoya likineyan, the eagles should go to their nests. Meaning she wanted to say, to be meramez, that when the Talmidim were there by Rebbe and the wine was all gone from the barrel, so the ladle hit the barrel, the Talmidim should go home. But she didn't want to say out beferish that they should leave, so she said it, meramez it in that manner. If you could have a boy at the lesson, and when she wanted him to stay at the table, so have Amrlahu, she said the following: Yade basa chavet hamina, a piece of her friend should be removed from her friend. Ve'titku ala bekad ki elfadaz b'yama, and the ladle will float in the barrel like a ship that goes on the sea. Meaning that they'll take, there's wine in another barrel, we'll take wine from another barrel and serve it so that they can stay. Rav Yossi bar Asaki havim shtay v'lashon chachma Amar, when he spoke in a lashon chachma, he said the following: Amar asli shar b'mishpat b'tur miskin. He prepared for me a shore in judgment, an ox in judgment, on a poor mountain. So instead of saying to prepare for me that tardin are beets, so when he wanted to be served beets, he didn't want to say that people should know what he's eating. So he didn't say serve for me tardin. He said, serve with me the shor b'mishpat. So shor b'mishpat is like tardin tur din. Tardin is tur din, like shor within judgment. Because of a shal b'shpiza, and when he wanted to inquire about the welfare of his host, so again, he wanted to conceal, it wasn't so coveted that she inquire about the husband and the wife. So he said the following: Gavar pum den chai, the man of this mouth is alive. Mazu tova yeshva, what good is there? So he wanted to say the man of this Gavar pum den, the man of this mouth, the man of this inn, and ushpiza is when you say ushpiza is ushpize, ush ish pi mouth zeh, this. So this mouth. So he wanted to therefore be merames what is the welfare of the innkeeper or the host. When he would speak in lashon of merames and chachma, he would say the following: make coals like an esrog. An esrog is bright yellow. Make the coals burn, glow like an esrog, so that we can warm ourselves. Arkiu l'zavin, spread out the gold ones, the coals that are glowing. And make for me two things that are magide balata, that are magid, that tell over things in the darkness, meaning roosters. Roosters, when it's still dark, then the roosters start to, they call out, they crow. So therefore, he was merames, the ones who indicators in the darkness, to make two roosters for him. Make with them, with the coals, that they roast the roosters on the coals. Says, show us where Rav is hiding. Again, another example we're going to show of Lashon Chachma. Amar Lahen, he said to them, Allah it's benar. He's rejoicing with a young woman, Aharoinus, from Aaron, from the family of Arnakain, Acharayanis, the latest one. Ironius, and one which is lively. Then Hirota, and she kept him awake. So Amrullah Isha, some say it's referring to a wife, that he was with, he just recently got married. Allah's ben Nara, so he was rejoicing with a Nara. Arinus and his wife was from a family of Kahanim, from Aaron. Achrinus is the latest one. He was previously married, and his wife died. He remarried, and Ironis, and it kept him up at night. And Vamala Masechta, and some say it's referring to Masechta, that he was learning a new Masechta. He was rejoicing with a Masechta that is a Aranis Kachim. It was a Masechta Kachim, and it was a new one to him. He hadn't learned it before, and it kept him up at night, and that's why he slept in. He said, show us where Rava is hiding. Amar lehen, he said to him, Nisayis b'machter, he took advice from the one who crowns people, Vehin gave Mephibosheth, and he went to the south to Mephibosheth. He got permission from the Nasi to learn with the Talmid Chachamim in the south. So therefore, he was promised that he went to the Doram. He went to the south, and to learn Torah with the Talmid Chachamim in the south. Mephibosheth was a great Talmid Chacham. The one who crowns people is a Nasi, so that's what he's Maramis. He says, when all my days, nobody, when they had a debate or an encounter, that nobody got the better of him. Nobody won him over. Except from the following mices, which involve a woman, a child, and a young girl. Young boy and a young girl. Isha Maihi, what's the mice with an Isha? One time he was staying by an inn by a certain hostess. Also, she made beans for him. The first day he ate it all up, he didn't leave over anything. The second day he didn't leave anything over. Then the third day she oversalted it. She put too much salt on it, so he couldn't eat it. So he took a taste and then he withdrew from it. He didn't eat from it anymore. She said to him, she asked him, Rabbi, she said, why aren't you eating? I said to her, I already ate in the day, I'm not hungry. I ate already earlier in the day. She said, you should have then not have eaten bread, so that you shouldn't be so full. She said, Rabbi, Shema lo hinachta pei b'rishayim. He said, Rabbi, perhaps that in the earlier ones, what I served you before, you didn't leave over a small portion. And the custom was that they didn't finish the food completely on the plate. They left over a portion of it for the shamas, that should be his chelik, his tip, so to speak, his portion, and not finish off the plate completely. So she said, maybe, perhaps, you didn't leave over from the first ones that were served. And didn't the Chacham say, when you have a pot and when you're pouring something like a pot of porridge or something like that, then you don't leave over ein mishayim pei b'pat be'ilfus. You don't have to leave over a corner, a portion of mishayim pei b'kara. But on a plate, you are mishayir. So you should have left over. Perhaps you didn't leave over anything over there, and that's why you're not hungry. So the minhag was not to leave over from an ilfis, but from a kara, the minhag was to leave over. Tinaikas Mahi, what's the case with a little girl? He was traveling. And there was a path that went through a field. And I walked along it. The little girl said to me, Rabbi, isn't this private property? Isn't this a field? I said, he said, no, people walk over it. It's being used by the public. People use it as a path, as a shortcut. She said, the reason why it's being used by the public, because thieves like you, ganovim like you, take it without permission. But this is private property. So again, she was menatzeach him. What's the case of a young boy? He was traveling. And he saw a young boy on a fork in the road. There's two ways to go. And I said to him, I asked him, which path to the city? He said, this road is short and long. And the other road is long and short. So he went on the short one, which was long. When I came to the city, I saw that it was surrounded by gardens and orchards, so you couldn't get in. So I went back to the fork in the road. I said to the young boy, Bani haloyamata amartalik sorry, you said to me it's short. Amarli v'loyamartla. Didn't I tell you that it's long? It's short. So initially it's short, but it ends up ultimately it's long because it's a shorter way to get to the outskirts of the city. But then you can't get into the city proper because of the orchards and the gardens. V'nashakti al roisha, and I kissed him on his head. V'amarti lo, and I said to him, Ashreichem Yisrael, how fortunate Yisrael you are. Klal Yisrael, praiseworthy. Shekulchem chacham g'dei l'matam. You're all very smart and wise. Migulchem v'ad ketanchem. From your old to your young, you're all very, very smart. Rav Yosef Gliyah, he was traveling. Ashkala Bruria. He came upon Bruria. Bruria was the wife of a mayor. Amar Lo, he said to her, Be'ezadech Neil Chalud. He asked her which way to Lud. Amar Lo, she said to him, Glili Shaita. She said, the foolish person from Golil. We learned, didn't the Chacham say, Al Tarasichem Aisha, don't have lengthy conversations with a woman. So, you should have said, Be'ezel Alud. You should have shortened it. Why did you say, Be'ezel Derech Nelech Alud? You could have said it in a shorter way, Be'ezel Alud. She came upon a certain Talmud that was learning, but quietly. He didn't say it out loud. She kicked him. Amrale, she said to him, Loika Kosov, doesn't it say in the Pasuk, Arucha Bakol Ushmura. It's all arranged, and it's Shmura, and it's protected. If it's arranged in all your 240 limbs, mishtameres, then it will be protected. Vim lav and mishtameres, but if not, it'll be forgotten. So you have to say it out. You have to learn by speaking it out and saying it with a call, not quietly. Tana told me that she was learning quietly, and after 3 years he forgot his learning. Tana told me that there was a certain Talmud of Rabbi Lezer, Shinis Chayes Shrei for the Malkum, that he was a Chayes Shrei for the Malkum, he was Chayiv and Einish of Shrei being killed, being burnt. According to the Marsha, he is Chayiv Shrei because he forgot his learning. And as we learn in Pirkei Avos, it's called Shechayach Dovid Talmudai, it's as if he's Chayiv Misa. So they're talking about this in this context. He was chayev sreif l'makam because he learned in a way as not to remember it, and he forgot his learning. They said to the Ravakish Rachmim, and they said that leave him because Adam Gadol Shimish. He was a Talmud of a great person, Rabbi Lezer. Shmuel said to Rabbi Yehuda, Shin a sharp one, psach pumecha v'kari. Open your mouth, and when you learn, open your mouth. You have to say it out loud. So that you'll remember it. And you'll have long life. It says the Torah is life for those who find them, and it's a cure for his entire boss, of entire body, of entire flesh. Don't read to the Motzayim, the one who find them, the one who express them, they speak it out, they say it out, then for them, it'll be Chaim, it'll give them life, and Chaim Hem L'Motzayim, Al Chol B'Sarai Marpeh.